Process manufacturing is considered one of the most complex from the ERP lenses. A lot of discrete manufacturing ERP companies downplay the complexity that goes in process manufacturing. So these are going to require very unique capabilities. So which are the ERP systems that are designed for process manufacturing in 2024? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. Hello everyone, my name is Sen Gupta. I'm principal at Elevate. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP digital transformation firm. We help our clients with ERP selection, enterprise technology strategy, implementation, as well as change management. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be your process manufacturing ERP systems in 2024. Before we look at the list, let's define what is process manufacturing. So process manufacturing is going to be any of the products that goes through that formulation recipe processes, and that is going to be your pharma, nutraceuticals, it's going to be your cannabis, it's your food and beverage, etc. These are not going to be your physical products such as your automotive, aeroplanes, etc. So these are some of the differences between your process-centric products versus your discrete-centric products. So this particular list is really for the process manufacturing as well as process-centric products. Some of the unique capabilities that you are going to require with the process manufacturing is number one, that formulation, recipe, ingredients, as well as you have challenges such as your catchweight. You are going to have capabilities such as your reverse bomb, potency, etc. So these are some of the capabilities that are very unique in the process manufacturing space. To compile this list, we look at several different variables. That is going to be your product share. It is going to be your acquisition strategy focused on. So if companies are investing a lot more in developing their process manufacturing capability, they will rank higher on this list. Then you have product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology strategy, as well as users. So we look at all of these variables to compile this list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Acumatica. In Acumatica, it's primarily a discrete product. Acumatica does not have the native process manufacturing capability, but the add-on that they have in their ecosystem are very strong. They have very strong alliance with these companies. So that makes Acumatica a fit for the process manufacturing as well. And then if you are going to be in spaces where you require process manufacturing plus your discrete, that's when Acumatica could be a great fit. So process discrete plus your field service plus your construction plus your distribution, e-commerce, etc. That's going to be part of the same database. So it's going to have the end-to-end traceability among those processes. So even though you might not get that global traceability, global consolidation, but you are going to get far more traceability among your business transactions. So if you care for these capabilities a little bit more, then Acumatica could be a great strengths. The technology is a big factor. So Acumatica is very cloud native, and the add-ons that they have in their portfolio for process manufacturing, they are designed with the similar development standards, similar guidelines for the documentation as well. So that's a huge strength for Acumatica. The core ERP layers are very strong, especially when you look at for these smaller companies when they are going to be outgrowing your QuickBooks or the smaller ERP systems and coming to Acumatica. So they are going to find all of those ERP layers. It is not designed for large companies, but for these smaller companies, these ERP layers are going to be enough. It's also a better fit for the seasonal businesses, and especially in the process manufacturing industries, seasonal businesses are going to be very common. Food business, etc., is very seasonal in general as well. So that's where your pricing may be slightly friendly. The licensing may be slightly friendlier for those businesses. The limitations that you are going to run into with Acumatica is that quality and process manufacturing module is through a third party. So you are definitely And the risk, the integration risk, the implementation might be slightly more expensive as well, just because of these moving parts. The other limitation that we have for Acumatica, it is not necessarily meant for your global financial as well as operational consolidation. Acumatica is not a great fit there. In definitely not meant for larger companies. So that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is ECI DCOM. And ECI DCOM is even a smaller product than your Acumatica, but it is going to have slightly superior capabilities as part of suite. It's going to integrate all of the components that any of the process manufacturing that will be required. With Acumatica, you are relying third-party add-ons, so you are dealing with a lot more vendors. With ECI DCOM, you are going to get everything from ECI itself as part of the suite. So even though ERP layers might not be as strong, but if you are small, limited on your implementation, then this could be a great fit. The strengths that you are looking at from the ECI DCOM perspective is the core process manufacturing capabilities, such as your catchweight, potency. Commerce-centric companies are going to relate with this a little bit more. You are going to get features such as your root accounting, etc. And in some process manufacturing spaces, especially when they are maintaining their own fleet, when they have processes such as your POD, etc., that's when you are going to get a lot more capabilities as part of the suite itself, and the implementation is very here too. The limitations that you are looking at from the ECI DCOM perspective is that the ERP layers are going to be limited, so it's not as moldable as some of the other ERP products. It may not be able to support as many different business models, transactions, so you might outgrow fast. And if you're going to have very complex business models supporting many different business processes, many different business transactions, then ECI DCOM may not be the best fit. The ecosystem is going to be limited, as with any other prescriptive product. You are primarily relying on ECI DCOM professional services for the consulting, for knowledge, etc. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 9. Number 8 on our list is CISPRO, and CISPRO does really well in some of the process manufacturing spaces. For example, let's say if you are going to be in chemical or in the food and beverage, or medical device, those are some of the spaces where CISPRO wins a lot. And the reason for that is because, number one, it has the process manufacturing capabilities as part of its suite. So formulation, recipe, etc. are supported as part of the suite. It also has discrete manufacturing processes built as part of the core product. So it is designed for smaller companies. It's not designed for global consolidation, global operational or financial synergies. But let's say if you are going to be present in a couple of countries, you have 1 or 2 different sites, let's say in the US or UK, for those installations, your CISPRO might be a great fit. The other strength when you are looking at from the CISPRO perspective is the inventory layers are far more complex. So these are going to be different attributes, and those attributes are going to be part of throughout the process. Sometimes some products are going to use these attributes only from the reporting purposes, and that could be a limitation because they are not necessarily utilized in that planning and scheduling processes, but that is not going to be a limitation. With CISPRO, the formulation and recipe support is going to be as part of the product. But when you are going to be in spaces where you require capabilities such as your reverse bomb or potency, etc., all of those advanced capabilities might not be supported as part of your CISPRO. CISPRO is also not going to have things such as your catchweight. So depending upon whether you care for these capabilities or not, how and whether you can manage with some of the ad hoc arrangements that they might be able to propose for these capabilities. If you're able to manage with that, then CISPRO could be a great fit. Some of the other limitations, the suite capabilities are going to be limited, so you might require a lot more add-ons in general with CISPRO as well, and the global consolidation capabilities are very limited. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is SAP S/4HANA. SAP S/4HANA is a different product. It is designed for larger companies that are looking to consolidate all of their entities, business models globally, when they might have a much larger global footprint, or they might be publicly traded, audited, But in all of those cases, SAP S/4HANA is going to be the strength that you are looking at from the SAP S/4HANA perspective is it is designed for very complex organizations, especially the companies that are going to be very active with their M&A cycles, just because their business model is not going to be constant, that is ever changing. So it's very hard to ascertain what their to-be state is going to be. So that's when solutions such as SAP S/4HANA can provide the diversity in your processes from the business model as well as from the transaction perspective. Then your global compliance localization is going to be supported in countries where other solutions might be present. When you look at geographies such as your South America or Europe, those could be very complex just because you have very small countries and each of those countries are going to have very unique processes. So in those cases, a lot of mainstream ERP systems are not going to be supported just because they don't have as much market share. So you don't have much of a choice but to go for solutions such as your SAP, Microsoft or Oracle. Those are going to be the only products that are going to be supported in those geographies, or there are going to be some of the mom and pop solutions that are going to be designed for only for those geographies. So the limitations that you are looking at from the SAP S/4HANA perspective is the last mile capabilities are probably going to be to your third-party vendors. So the integrations, the suite capabilities, and the core capabilities that you have, a lot of them you are relying on a lot of third-party vendors. So you are increasing that your vendor risk, integration risk, implementation risk. It's probably going to be expensive just because all of these are moving parts. And then it will also require the internal maturity from the IT org perspective. So that's number 7. Now, number 6 on our list is QAD. And QAD is a right fit for supply chain centric companies, in the life sciences, food and beverage centric companies where they go through very rigorous supply chain planning processes that is going to be slightly more commoditized product types. These are not going to be very expensive products in general. So the strengths that you are looking at from the QAD perspective is that the entire suite is going to be as part of the product itself that you are going to get from QAD. You are not relying on as many third-party vendors. So your implementation is going to be cheaper just because everything is sort of pre-baked, pre-configured, pre-integrated. So those are some of the strengths. QAD is primarily a discrete product, even though they have some of the process capabilities as well. So the complex capabilities from the process perspective may not be supported as part of the product. The global capabilities, when you are looking at from the global compliance perspective, global consolidation perspective, QAD in general is slightly bigger product compared to your products such as your Acumatica, DCOM, etc. So this is designed for that global collaboration, global supply chain collaboration, when you are going to be present in 5, 6, 10, 20 different countries. That's when your QAD may be a better fit. The limitations that you are looking at from the QAD perspective is that even though they have announced that they are upgrading their technology to cloud native, but it is not completely rolled out. It might not be stable for the next few years. So you might want to evaluate that a little more. The ecosystem as well as the consulting base is going to be a challenge just because your QAD is a descriptive product. So that's number 6. Now, number 5 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO. And FNO is a very similar product as your SAP S/4HANA. It is designed for slightly more generalized cases where you are looking at a lot more diversity as part of the product, where you are looking for industry-specific capabilities through your third-party vendors, add-ons. So in those cases, your Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is going to be a better fit. Overall, when you compare this with your SAP S/4HANA or Oracle, they have been proven in Fortune 500 workloads a lot more. So they are going to have a lot more capabilities for those companies that might not be relevant in mid-market, upper mid-market, as well as some of the operational capabilities in the cloud. They are going to be far more ahead with your Microsoft, at least as of today. So the strengths that you are looking at from the Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO perspective is the process manufacturing capabilities are going to be baked as part of the product. So you are not relying on a very thick add-on from the process manufacturing perspective. But when you look at the industry specific capabilities, especially when you look at the PLM integration, because for your process manufacturing, the PLM collaboration, PLM embeddedness matters a lot. So you might run into challenges just because PLM is going to be through a third-party vendor. It might not be as well documented, as well coded, as well adopted, and that is probably going to be a critical success factor for you. So these are some of the challenges that you need to keep in mind when you are looking at FNO product. Some of the other limitations that we have from the FNO perspective is the last mile capabilities are through third-party vendors. So again, you are looking at that vendor risk, integration risk. It's probably going to be expensive. And this will also require far mature internal IT org. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. And Oracle Cloud ERP is a very similar product as your SAP S/4HANA and your Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO. It's designed for those large global publicly traded companies. So you are going to have a lot more financial layers in general when you are looking for that financial consolidation across your entities, across your business models. That's when your Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be a better fit. But those industry-specific capabilities are not going to be pre-baked. It's not going to have ST-led suite as you are going to find with the prescriptive products. So depending upon the use case, depending upon the purpose, whether you are very active in M&A cycles, if you are, then you probably want something like Oracle Cloud ERP if you are going to be harsh. But if you are not as active, your business model is very rigid, you don't see that changing next 5-10 years, then you might be okay with the prescriptive products. They also have a lot more logos in general in the process manufacturing spaces, especially in pharma, food and beverage, just because the legacy JD Edwards product was very well adopted in these industries. So they are converting all of those logos and they have far deeper capabilities for those industries. Some of the limitations that you're looking at from the Oracle Cloud ERP perspective is these last mile capabilities are probably going to be through third-party vendors, very similar to your Microsoft or SAP S/4HANA. The implementation is probably going to be expensive, as well as it requires far mature internal IT org. So those are some of the limitations, and that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Aptean Process Manufacturing ERP. And this would fall under that prescriptive category where you are going to get complete suite. It's going to be very tailored to specific industries. Now, Aptean Process Manufacturing ERP takes a very different approach, very similar to your Infor, where you are going to have the specific ERP products that are bundled as part of the suite. So even though from the overarching marketing perspective, you are going to see that they are saying, hey, I have Aptean Process Manufacturing, but this is your ROS edition or Process Pro edition. And these specific ERP systems were designed for very, very, very specific micro verticals. They required these tailored capabilities. So in a way, that is great. But these are going to be completely separate databases compared to products such as your Acumatica, where all of these business models are residing in one database. So there, your upgrade is going to be far easier. You are going to have a far better traceability across your business model transactions. But here, very similar, are looking at completely different products flavored in these editions. So that could be a risk, but you are going to get far more tailored functionality capabilities for specific micro verticals. So the strengths that you're looking at from the Aptean Process Manufacturing ERP perspective is that the full suite is pre-integrated. So your implementation is going to be cheaper. If you're on budget, you look for pre-integrated capabilities, then this could be a great fit. The specific process manufacturing capabilities for industries, again, those complex capabilities, reverse bombs, potency, ingredients, each of the process manufacturing micro verticals are going to require very specific capabilities, as well as their PLMs are going to be very unique as well. So that's what you are going to get with your Aptean. And then you have very similar limitations that we have from the Aptean. Aptean's perspective is if you buy the complete suite from Aptean, it might be cheaper. But let's say if you are trying to rip and replace, and if you want to utilize your favorite tools with Aptean architecture, that might be expensive. You might not find as many pre-baked integrations. You might not find as many consultants that might be expert on those integrations. Aptean might not support you with that either because they are going to be motivated to sell their own products or suite. So partial implementations generally you might find challenges. So either you get the complete architecture from your app team, or you be similar to other products. And then the diversity is probably going to be a problem. It's not going to be as diverse as some of the other products. And the ecosystem as well as consulting base is going to be limited as well, just like any other prescriptive products. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Sage X3. And Sage X3 is a slightly more mid to large product from the process manufacturing perspective. And this is going to be slightly better fit when you require accounting heavy processes. You need a system that is going to be your audit ready, publicly traded companies. And generally in the pharma spaces, they are going to be slightly more regulated. So they are going to go through a lot more processes in general. And that's where your Sage X3 product really shines. Their ecosystem is very well developed. They have a lot more consultants. In general, it's very well adopted in the process manufacturing space compared to some of the other products on this list. So the other strength that you're looking at, the complex process manufacturing capabilities, such as your catchweight, the way your UOMs are going to be, the way your bombs are going to be, all of those are present as part of your Sage X3 product. Some of the limitations that you're looking at from the Sage X3 perspective is the suite capabilities, for example, PLMs, etc., configurator, all of these capabilities, you might need a third-party add-on, especially if you're looking for very specialized capabilities, you're looking for robust capabilities, you might require a lot more add-ons, even with Sage X3. And Sage X3 overall in their portfolio is not the core focus. Their core focus is Sage Intacct in general, just because their target market is slightly more SMB. They don't necessarily care as much for the larger companies, just because the other ERP companies are far more penetrated. Their primary distribution channel is the accounting firms, and they are far more penetrated in general in the small to mid-sized space, and that's their primary target market. So Sage X3 product itself is not very well aligned with their core strategy. And then you're going to find a lot more accounting boilerplate as well that might not be relevant in the SMB space. So that's number 2. And number 1 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite M3 product. And Infor Cloud Suite M3 is adopted among process manufacturing companies, especially if they are going to have very complex inventory, they are going to be deep into your supply chain planning, etc. So the strengths that you're looking at from the Infor Cloud Suite M3 perspective is the process manufacturing capabilities, especially if you're going to have retail distribution centric. And generally, your food-centric companies are going to be very strong in a retail-centric business model as well. For those, the suite is configured for that. The suite has those capabilities too. And then you are going to have the pre-integrated supply chain suite. Your PLMs are going to be pre-integrated. Your supply chain suite is going to be pre-integrated. And that's a huge value add because you are getting all of this from the same vendor. And the limitations that you are going to run into with Infor Cloud Suite compared to some of these smaller products. For example, let's say if you compare this with Acumatica, Infor Cloud Suite M3 might be slightly more expensive. It's not necessarily made for small companies that are going to be in revenue under $250 million in revenue. And the ecosystem as well as the consulting base is going to be small as well, just because this is more of the prescriptive category. So that's number 1. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include the link of a detailed article that is going to have much deeper insights. So you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis. So like and subscribe on YouTube. This podcast is also available in the audio form, Spotify and Google, as well as Apple. So you might want to check and subscribe there. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report, we compile all of these insights as well as this annually as part of that report. So we are going to include the link of that as well. So check that out. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.